All right, Black Box Radio. We have Kris Furnish today. Say hi to the people, sis.
Hello, everyone. I hope everybody's doing well during these hard times.
So tell the people what you do in the community.
Professionally, what I do for work and what I do in the community, I run a organization called Maryland Marijuana Justice, MDMJ for short. And we are the sister group to DCMJ, which is the organization that legalized cannabis in our nation's capital back in 2014. So the principles and core values of DCMJ is to fight for the people, the rights of the people, we have home cultivation in Washington, D.C. And we're basically that group, we advocate for, like I said, the rights of consumers, patients, growers, and their families, anybody who works in the industry. Those are the people that we represent and fight for. And so we decided to branch out to Maryland and fight for legalization because it's been a very slow path with the Maryland General Assembly and the work group that they formed. It's just been, kind of chugging along real slow. So we formed this organization to fight for, again, consumers, people who want to grow, people who want to work in the industry, not so much like the industry side of it, but the consumer and the patients. And so we're just out here trying to legalize cannabis for people who need it and want to grow it themselves and keep people out of jail.
And so how is that industry affected by a virus like this?
People are definitely still smoking. They've deemed cannabis dispensaries around the country as essential businesses.
Yeah.
And I find that very contradictory because for so many years, it's been a criminal thing to do. And now all of a sudden, it's an essential business.
And on top of that, there are people still in jail with marijuana convictions.
Exactly.
And now you're breeding and making money within a crisis and the same thing that you're jailing people with.
Absolutely.
Amazing. That is hypocrite. But, that's what's happening in America. Because I think this is a recession virus proof industry.
I think so. And I think now more than ever, elected officials and congressional representatives and even the president of the United States can see clearly how, this plant is essential, not for financial gain, but for mental health and, people who have PTSD. Like, people are dealing with a lot of stress during this whole pandemic. A lot of people don't even know how they're going to eat today. A lot of restaurant workers who are out of work and are really scared of what's going to happen tomorrow. And cannabis and plant-based medicines are extremely therapeutic, extremely sacred plants that have been on this earth for thousands of years, since the beginning of time. And we've absolutely been disconnected with nature because of politics and just, industrial companies have caused a disconnect between human beings and nature. And I think this coronavirus is a prime example of why we need to constantly be in touch with nature because, imagine people who have a little garden in their backyard and can be self-sustainable and don't need to go to the grocery store, don't need to rely on all these big industrial industries to survive. They're doing it on their own. So I just think that now more than ever is a great example of why humans need to stay connected with the environment and nature and plants, because plants heal us. They're the reason why we breathe. And the more disconnected we stay, the more out of touch we're going to be with survival.
Really, the power structure found a way to make money. So we are still disconnected with nature because the power structure is pushing us out here within May want us to start working and get the country back online, and not looking at the biological effects and what nature is saying to us. So really, they found a way to make it economically feasible, and the population is now benefiting from them being fine with the economics that they're gaining. Because if they couldn't get in economics, those plants would still be will still be where they were. So it's because they were able to set up an industry, which is a problem in this country, and the leadership of America, is that everything that's good, or everything that can make us flourish as humans, has to be tied in the industry for wealth. If it's not, it won't be celebrated. It won't get a platform. It won't even get looked at.
Making it very exclusive to certain demographics of people.
Yep.
You don't see a Whole Foods store in the inner cities. You don't see natural food products. You see a bunch of dollar stores and Burger Kings and McDonald's. So then you have to wonder, like, why is it like that?
Don't forget the liquor store and the corner store. You got to bring it all out. The liquor store, the corner store.
I'm actually reading a book called The Color of Law. And it talks about how back in the 40s and 50s, like after the war and everything, where they set up all the multi-level big apartment complex buildings, and there were actual laws written by the government saying, black people can't live here. This is a white neighborhood, and the second too many black families move in, everybody who's not of color is going to move out and just destroy the neighborhood. And it actually was written in the law that they can put liquor stores and cigarette tobacco shops on however many they want in certain parts of quote unquote the ghettos, but the law is that you can't do that in white neighborhoods. You can't do that in the suburbs.
As black people, we grew up in these neighborhoods, so we know what's there. We're clear that if we go to other neighborhoods, we don't see the same businesses, the same setup. So we're clear what's going on. And it's so undeniable, but to the people who are in this country, they act like it's not happening. It's like it's your fault.
That's that privilege.
Yeah, that's what privilege does. The food desert is your fault.
Yep.
The drug presence, because you can't sell something that's not present. The presence of it and the availability and the access of it is your fault. So the educational system and is your fault. So that's what we live in. But that's not what we're here. We're here to talk about Corona.
And also here to talk about Kris.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. This is what my life consumes of. Like is consumed of is like every topic, everything that I'm passionate about always boils down to the rights of people of color. I could care less about the opinions of people who look like me, to be honest.
Okay, well let's get that out. Let's seg into that. How you look? You said I look like how you look, Kris?
A white female.
Okay, so you're a white female. Okay, we got to give context to the people. We can't see you.
I forgot. Yeah, no video.
Yeah, you didn't have to fix your hair. You didn't have to fix your hair.
Yeah, so it's like it's just what you were saying, Queenie. People who look like me, white people, they always have somebody to blame. Oh well, you should have just listened, or you should have stayed in school, or you should have done drugs, or you should have just did what the policeman told you to do. It's not that black and white. I'm sorry, but it's not. And I have my own family members that refuse to see in between the lines, and I don't want to call anybody out, but it's frustrating to me that, these facts that are right in front of our face, all you have to do really is read a few books and you'll come to realization that, like, oh my gosh, like this oppression has never stopped. Nothing has changed. And that's what'll make you realize. But these people refuse to see the truth that's right in front of them, and for that, like, those people's opinions don't matter to me, because I know I know what's really happening in this country. And like I said, nothing has changed.
Mm. Well, thank you for that your input. That was amazing. So let me it was. So let me ask the question, because the people need to know you're actually where right now, and how did that happen?
I am physically in Anchorage, Alaska right now. My boyfriend lives out here. He's lived out here for the last 25 years. He's a petitioner. So for those who don't know what that means, there's certain states, Maryland excluded, that you can get people to sign a petition and put issues on the ballot. So my boyfriend has been doing that for the last 30 years. He's worked all around the country in pretty much every state. He's worked on pretty much every marijuana initiative in the country. So he just said, "Hey, I want you to come." And this was before like the coronavirus started getting really bad. But he said, "I want you to come out here and visit me." So I jumped on a plane, and I was only supposed to be here for a week. But my roommates back home were saying, like, we think you should stay out there. You're safe. It's getting really bad over here, so just stay put. And so I've just been here in Alaska, trying to stay away from this virus as much as possible, and still staying connected with the community back on the East Coast. So.
Okay. And has there been a level of effect? I know that's not where you're from, but Alaska is because it's kind of sparsely populated. Or am I right?
Right. Yeah. There's Alaska is like the size of Texas and California combined. It's a very large state, and there's not very many. The population isn't huge, so the cases of coronavirus aren't like exploding out here because it is pretty rural area. But that's not to say that it's not out here at all. There are cases, and there have been deaths out here so far. So, but we've been just staying inside, stocking up at the grocery store when we need to, and just kind of trying to focus on work and stay entertained. And
it's a lot.
And cooking a lot lately.
So when do you anticipate to come back east?
Honestly, that's a good question. No, I'm definitely coming back home, but I'm posted up right now, just
chilling.
Just yeah, literally. The snow is starting to melt out here, but no, I mean, there's still snow. I mean, it hasn't been snowing, but the snow from on the ground is like starting to melt.
So you have some snow on the ground. Wow, it's really winter.
Yeah.
Oh man.
It's getting warm though, and this will blow your mind. Last night at around, it was like 10:10 p.m. and the sky was still light from the sun. 10:10 p.m. and it's like every day it gets later and later. The sun goes down later and later. So that's pretty interesting.
That's very interesting. I would love to see. And I know in Alaska it stays dark for like 6 months. Am I right?
So you have to go more up north for that.
More enough. Okay. Yeah. All right. Trying to get my little geography plan together. That'll work. So, all right. We're at the part of the interview where.
Wait. Let me make one more shout out to my people back on the East Coast in DC. Adam Eidinger and Rachel Ramon Donman are pumping out masks. They're asking people who have extra fabric or thread to reach out to DCMJ.org, or we have Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Reach out to us on social media if you have any kind of fabric or thread to donate, and if you would like anybody who needs a mask, they're almost at like 420 masks that they've made, and they're sending them out to people who need them all around the country. So and they're free masks. We're not trying to pull the pandemic here.
Amazing. And and say that again. Yeah, give that another shout. That's amazing.
DCMJ. That's DC Marijuana Justice. And right now, like I said, they are free. But if you feel so inclined to make a donation to decrimnaturedc.org, we've got a movement in DC. I know you're probably aware that some municipalities around the country, such as Oakland and Denver, They have decriminalized entheogens, which is plant-based medicines, mushrooms, psilocybin, mescaline, things like that for healing. And so we're asking if anybody wants a mask and they can donate to decrimnaturedc.org.
Amazing. All right. So we added the part of the interview with your last will and testament is what you leave with the community. It could be a talent, it could be a poem, but leave a jewel with the community as we go through this significant time in history.
Okay, what I want to leave is just a bit of hope that this will, soon come to an end, and don't ever stop asking questions. Question everything. Just keep being friendly to people. Be nice to one another. Because right now we need each other like no time. It's like we are one. We are all here together on planet Earth, spaceship Earth, whatever you want to call it. We're all here as one, and we have to stick together now more than ever against the powers that be, because they're the ones trying to get us to attack one another and stay, distracted while they scheme stuff behind closed doors. So just stay focused, stay loving and humble, love one another, and keep asking questions. And for those of y'all that smoke weed out there, this is the best time for y'all to be growing right now.
Love it. Smoke a joint.
Grow your own. No, I'm serious. Buy some, and not even cannabis. Grow your own vegetables. Start a garden in your windowsill, because now more than ever, it's very important for us to be self-sustainable and not have to rely on these big corporate industries to feed us.
Awesome. Awesome, G.
Kris, thank you so much for taking some time to share your experience and your perspective and the work that you've been doing in the community. We appreciate you for showing up for us all the way from the other side of the country.
Yeah.
It's a fight I'm not willing to give up. So I'm there 100%.
All right. So if you're listening to us right now and you've enjoyed this conversation that we've had, you can find all of the voices of the Rona Report at blackboxradio.com. That's BLAKBOXXRADIO. You can find all of the interviews of the Rona Report, plus all of the conversations that we've had on Black Box Radio going all the way back to 9/19/19. You can also find Black Box Radio on Instagram and Facebook at Black Box Radio. And you can find us on Twitter at BoxBlack. That's BOXXBLAK. And if you're hearing this right now, that means you have found us. And not everyone is able to find us that easily. So make sure that you share this conversation with your friends and family. Put it on your social media. Send it out in your emails so that other people can hear this valuable information come into the community from Black Box Radio.
We just had Kris Furnish. We thank you so much for your input all the way from Alaska.
Hey, thank you guys so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, come back to the East Coast. We're trying to see you again. So
I know, I miss you guys.
Bring it back. So this is Black Box Radio. It is 4/17/20. We are in the Rona Report. We're out. Peace.